Let's be real. Do your product descriptions suck? Well, that's not going to help sell your products then. So in this video, I'm going to go over a couple tips on how to make your product descriptions better and more unique for your products so that it sells your products easily for you. I cannot tell you how many times I see a Shopify store where they're actually using the supplier's description for their product description. Whether they are drop shipping or doing print on demand, they're using the default description and it's terrible. These descriptions are never good and they're more just reading like a spec sheet. So you want to make sure that you're creating unique product descriptions for all the products on your Shopify store. So I've got a couple tips on how to make them to where they are unique and help sell your product instead of just getting people to glaze over them and be really boring. So I've talked about this so many times on this channel and I'm not gonna stop. It is so important to know exactly who your ideal customer is, so that way you can talk to them directly in your product description copy. So that way, once you know who your ideal customer is, you can then talk about the benefits that your product has for them or what pain points it solves. Once you know who your ideal customer is, it makes everything so much easier so that you can then talk to them directly and then make the product description a lot more enticing for them to read, and where they read it and go, yeah, okay, I need this. Buy, add to cart. So it's super important to know who your ideal customer is. Also, when you're writing your product description, you want to make sure that you're using natural language. So talking to that ideal customer like you would naturally in a conversation, instead of making it sound like you have just been talking to a robot. So for that, yes, it is important to use keywords like what people would be searching for if they looked for your product in Google search results. That way your site shows up hopefully in the search results. However, you want to make sure not to keyword stuff and make it sound super robotic and not anything like conversational that we would be having, because then it's going to be really boring to read, and again, people are going to just skip over it. You also want to make sure that you are using some adjectives to describe your product, but not going over the top with the adjectives. A couple colorful kind of adjectives to explain your product and make them feel like they can actually feel it, see it, touch it, smell it. All those things are great. However, if you add too many adjectives, then it just ends up being really fluffy and you go the other way. You don't want to make it sound like you've written it for robots, but you don't want to make it sound like it's a poem as well. You want to find that nice balance between describing your product, using those keywords as well for the search engines, and making it really conversational for your ideal customer. You also want to make sure that it's really easy for people to scan, because a lot of times people are not going to sit there and read word for word everything, especially if they're on a mobile device. So you can do this in how you're writing the product description, but also in how you stylize it. So breaking it up into multiple paragraphs, maybe adding some bold or italics for emphasis is a great way to make it really scannable for your customers. And my last tip here is to also add in, of course, your sizing or product specs, any information that the customer needs to still know about your product, adding it either after your main description or adding it in a separate tab on your product page. That way they still get that important information, but it's not the entire thing of what your product description is. Again, especially if you have things like apparel, you'd want to add a sizing chart and talk about how it runs either true to size or maybe a little small or bigger so that they get the appropriate size and you minimize the returns. But you don't want to make your entire product description about that. So either having it in a separate section that's still really easy for your customer to see, or just putting it below your product description is a great way to still highlight it while still making the priority be on your main product description that's going to hopefully entice them to purchase the product. So go ahead and go look at your product descriptions and think about which of these tips you can add in to make them a little bit more enticing for customers and to better sell your products. I hope you found this quick tips Shopify video helpful. I've got a full playlist here over here that you can see on the right hand side. These videos come out every Tuesday on our channel, and we post other videos all about Shopify and how to grow your online store. So make sure that you are subscribed to this channel if you haven't already, so you never miss a video as soon as it comes out. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.